This is Stephanie with Feathers and Fairy Hair. I am here at the Concord Mills Mall in North Carolina, and I'm at my little kiosk here at the mall. It's a quick shot there. I wanted to do an update video on the caring for your fairy hair because I've discovered some new things and I wanted to share those new things with you because I think they are important. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's get right to it. So in the previous videos, I went over how to re-tube your fairy hair. So taking the packaging that you get either from Amazon or wherever you get your fairy hair and putting it in a packaging that will last longer, that will allow you to pull out the fairy hair one at a time and keep it organized. So we're going to go through that same process, but there is going to be one major change. So here are the elements that you are going to need in order to do what I do. And again, you don't have to do this. This is just my ideas and tips for caring for your fairy hair, and they work well for me. But if you have better ideas, please use them and share them with me. Here we have scissors and the tape measure. And then we have the tubing. So this is the tubing. I get this on Amazon. It's nice and thin and you can see through it, and I like it because it shows the fairy hair inside of it really well. It's maybe not as long lasting as a thicker tubing, but this is what I get. It's just poly tubing on Amazon. And then I do use these little shower hooks here. I call them round hooks or shower hooks. I use these for holding the fairy hair. Then I have your regular Amazon fairy hair. And then this is a different packaging from a lady on Etsy, and her name is Hair Lights Liz. She does an excellent job. I love her fairy hair. Her packaging is excellent. You can already pretty much just use it and pull out one at a time as you need it. I still like to put it in my own packaging, but you can reuse her plastic tubing if you want. It's not as durable as this one here, but that's up to you. And then lastly, the big change is going to be yarn. So I previously was using little twist ties, but these over time the twist ties actually kink and bend your fairy hair. So that's the big thing, is you don't really want to use twist ties. I found that it was actually ruining my fairy hair, and we don't really want that. So instead of twist ties, we are now using yarn. This is a yarn that I got. It's got a little sparkle in it, and then I cut these yarn pieces at about 10 to 12 inches. And all right, now we're going to get to the process. Okay, here we are. So the first thing you want to do is measure the fairy hair. And so you measure it starting from this point all the way to the end. Usually it's about 25 to 26 inches. And then you're going to measure out your tubing as well. And then you're going to cut it. So I typically cut mine at about 25 inches. And I actually already have one cut here. So that's about the length. And that's what we're going to use for packaging the fairy hair. So if you get your Amazon fairy hair, you have to be careful with this because this turns into a mess really quickly. So you're going to actually use your scissors and cut the top off, and you want to pull it out at the top, because if you try to pull it out at the bottom, it's going to, like I said, turn into a mess real fast. So you pull it out from the top, and then you're going to take that off. All right, you want to keep track of where the middle is. So under your twist tie, and then you're going to open up your hook, okay, and you're going to put that middle section, middle of the fairy hair right on the hook, okay? Now, before you close it, you're going to take your yarn piece, you are going to fold that in half, okay? This loop here also goes on your hook with the fairy hair. Okay, now you can close. Now here's the crucial part. You're going to take your piece of yarn that's folded in half. You're going to twist it around the fairy hair and then make a simple knot. However you want to do that, that's fine. Just make sure you're making a simple knot around the fairy hair. And what happens is the yarn is now connecting the fairy hair to this hook. I used to use, like we said, the twist ties, but those were actually detrimental to the fairy hair. So now what's happening is the yarn is doing the very same thing, and you can tighten it as you go along as well, which is great. Okay, here we are again. Now I just want to make sure that I go over that process because I was a little bit off the camera, or to this on the edge of the camera. So here we are with the fairy hair again. I found the middle. So you open it up, find the middle. You're going to open your hook and you slide that middle part right onto your shower hook. Okay, just like that. And then you get your piece of yarn and you fold it in half, and that goes right on that hook as well. Okay, so now you can close your hook, and now you just take the yarn and you're gonna make a simple knot around the fairy hair. Okay, so the important part is we're connecting the fairy hair to the hook. So if you bring it around like so, and then you've made a little loop right there, you just pass the little tails through there, and then you can tighten it. Okay, now tighten it real good because it is just a simple knot. Now over time, as you use the fairy hair, you can go back in and tighten that a little bit more, but the great thing is it's not going to ruin that fairy hair, and it's going to allow that one piece to slide out nicely. So that's the review. Okay. Okay, now we've got the fairy hair on the hook, so we have to get our packaging ready, or the tubing ready. What you can do is either grab a hole punch and make a little hole about 1 inch down from the end of the tubing, or you can fold it at about 1 inch, make a teeny tiny slit with your scissors, teeny tiny, and then fold it the other way. Find that little slit and then make another little teeny tiny slit right there so that it's a little cross right there. So that's your hole, but that will tear over time. So I highly recommend using the hole punch savers or protectors, whatever you want to call them. I don't have them with me right now, but buy some clear hole punch protectors and put that right over. You just need it on one side because you're only going to run this hook through one side. Okay, so again, hole protectors on one side. So now from here you're going to grab your hook with your fairy hair. Now the last step is to connect these 3 items. So we have the hook, the yarn, the fairy hair, and I'm sorry, 4, and the tubing. So we have to connect all of them. So you're going to go to the opposite side of where you made your hole. You're going to put in your hook and let gravity pull it down like this. Keep sliding it all the way through, and you can help it from the outside. Now before you pull it, don't pull it all the way out. You want to just bring it out enough to open your hook, and then slide the bottom edge of the hook, the inner hook, through the hole. Okay, so again, you're only doing it through one side. Do not do it through both because I don't think that will work very well. All right, in fact, I don't think you can do it. So now you close your hook, and now it's all one piece. So you have your hook that you can hang on your case or wherever you want to hang it. You have your fairy hair protected by the tubing, and it's also being held to the hook, and it's being protected by the yarn. Okay guys, so now we have some final thoughts. Let me get this camera ready. Okay, so I have one more fairy hair tubing, and so I just wanted to share with you a couple more things. This is the fairy hair from Hair Lights Liz on Etsy. Like I said, it comes pretty much ready to go. I still like to put it in my own tubing. So you could do that, or you can reuse her tubing. Now, once again, it's not the most durable tubing. So you're going to have to do some things to help it along. So you want to start by pulling this out of the tubing. Okay, and you're going to put it right directly on your hook, just like we did before. Now, if you're adding fairy hair, you would do the same. You would find the middle and put it right over that hook. And then you're going to do the same process as we did the last time. Fold your yarn in half and put it right on your hook. Even if you have loose pieces that you're adding to fairy hair that's already tied, that's okay. Just make sure it's in there and make sure that this yarn goes all the way around everything. Okay, and then you're going to do that simple knot however you want to do it. Kind of get my finger in there so I can make a loop and then get the tail through. Okay, so now this is what we did before. Make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, so now we're going to reuse her tubing. So again, you want to make some kind of a hole about an inch, maybe an inch and a half from the top. I'm just going to use my scissors.
Come on.
You can use a hole punch if you want. But for this one, you really want to make sure you're putting a piece of tape over that. So actually put the tape on it first before you cut your hole. Or buy your clear hole punch savers and put those on after you make the hole. All right? So now we're going to flip it upside down just like we did before. And grab your fairy hair. Drop that hook in there. Now remember, this is the option for people who don't want to buy the tubing. This is the tubing. If you don't want to get into that, just reuse the tubing, but you have to get it from Hair Lights Liz because she's the only one, at least that I've come into contact with, that has better tubing. You don't want to do or reuse Amazon's tubing because that, like I said, turns into a mess. So this one may be a little more difficult to get it back through because it's a little tighter. All right. You can put a finger in there, grab it. Okay. Now as you pull it up towards the top, don't pull it all the way out. Make sure you open it before you pull it out and then pass it through the one side. So there should be a little hole on one side and then close it. So see how the hook goes through the inside and comes out the outside. And then you can use this, and it's great because it has the color on it. But remember, you just want to make sure you protect that hole because this will definitely rip over time or quickly. So put some tape there or a hole protector, and then you'll have about 2 inches at the bottom that you can grab your fairy hair from. Whereas when you make your own tubing, you can leave it longer so only the tips stick out, but that's up to you. All right, that's the conclusion to the organization video. Hopefully it's helpful. And if you have any questions, please feel free to message me or get in touch with me, and I will do my best to answer your questions. Have a great day. Hi everyone, this is Stephanie with Feathers and Fairy Hair. I am here at the Concord Mills Mall in North Carolina, and I'm at my little kiosk here at the mall. It's a quick shot there. I wanted to do an update video on the caring for your fairy hair because I've discovered some new things and I wanted to share those new things with you because I think they are important. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's get right to it.